Chapters 28-29 of Tristram Shandy, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman, Volume 1, by Lawrence Sterne. Chapter 28. When my uncle Toby got his map of Namur to his mind, he began immediately to apply himself, and with the utmost diligence, to the study of it, for nothing being of more importance to him than his recovery, and his recovery depending, as you have read, upon the passions and affections of his mind. It behoved him to take the nicest care to make himself so far master of his subject as to be able to talk upon it without emotion. In a fortnight's close and painful application, which, by the by, did my uncle Toby's wound upon his groin no good, he was enabled, by the help of some marginal document at the feet of the elephant, together with Gobus's military architecture and pyrobiology, translated from the Flemish, to form his discourse with passable perspicuity, and before he was 2 full months gone, he was right eloquent upon it, and could make not only the attack of the advanced counterscarp with great order, but having by that time gone much deeper into the art than what his first motive made necessary, my uncle Toby was able to cross the Maze and Sambre, make diversions as far as Vauban's line, the Abbey of Salsons and Co., and give his visitors as distinct a history of each of their attacks as that of the gate of St. Nicholas, where he had the honour to receive his wound. But desire of knowledge, like the thirst of riches, increases ever upon the acquisition of it. The more my uncle Toby pored over his map, the more he took a liking to it. By the same process, an electrical assimilation, as I told you, through which I weaned the souls of connoisseurs themselves, by long friction and incumbition, have the happiness at length to get all bewitched, bepictured, bebutterflied, and befiddled. The more my uncle Toby drank of this sweet fountain of science, the greater was the heat and impatience of his thirst, so that, before the first year of his confinement had well gone round, there was scarce a fortified town in Italy or Flanders of which, by one means or other, he had not procured a plan, reading over, as he got them, and carefully collating therewith, the histories of their sieges, their demolitions, their improvements, and new works, all which he could read with that intense application and delight that he would forget himself, his wound, his confinement, his dinner. In the second year, my uncle Toby purchased Ramilly and Cataneo, translated from the Italian, likewise Stevinus Moralis, the Chevalier de Villy, Lorini, Cocon, Sheeter, the Count de Pagan, the Marshal Vauban, Monsieur Blondel, with almost as many more books of military architecture as Don Quixote was found to have of chivalry when the curate and barber invaded his library. Towards the beginning of the third year, which was in August 99, my uncle Toby found it necessary to understand a little of projectiles, and having judged it best to draw his knowledge from the fountain head, he began with N. Tartaglia, who it seems was the first man who detected the imposition of a cannon's balls doing all that mischief under the notion of a right line. This entatalia proved to my uncle Toby to be an impossible thing. Endless is the search of truth. No sooner had my uncle Toby satisfied which road the cannon ball did not go, but he was insensibly led on, and resolved in his mind to inquire and find out which road the ball did go, for which purpose he was obliged to set off afresh with old Malthus, and studied him devoutly. He proceeded next to Galileo and Torricellius, wherein by certain geometrical rules infallibly laid down, he found the precise path to be a parabola, or else an hyperbola, and that the parameter or latus rectum, the conic section of the said path, was to the quantity and amplitude in a direct ratio as the whole line to the sine of double the angle of incidence formed by the breach upon a horizontal plane, and that the semiparameter— Stop, my dear uncle Toby, stop! Go not 1 foot farther into this thorny and bewildered track. Intricate are the steps, intricate are the mazes of this labyrinth, intricate are the troubles which the pursuit of this bewitching phantom knowledge will bring upon thee. O my uncle, fly, fly, fly from it as from a serpent. Is it fit, good-natured man, thou shouldst sit up with the wound upon thy groin whole nights, baking thy blood with hectic watchings? Alas, it'll exasperate thy symptoms, check thy perspirations, evaporate thy spirits, waste thy animal strength, dry up thy radical moisture, bring thee into a costive habit of body, impair thy health, and hasten all the infirmities of thy old age. O my uncle Toby. Chapter 29. I would not give a groat for that man's knowledge in pencraft who does not understand this, that the best plain narrative in the world, tacked very close to the last spirited apostrophe to my uncle Toby, would have felt both cold and vapid upon the reader's palate. Therefore I forthwith put an end to the chapter, though I was in the middle of my story. Writers of my stamp have one principle in common with painters. Where an exact copying makes our pictures less striking, we choose the less evil, deeming it even more pardonable to trespass against truth than beauty. This is to be understood cum grano salis, but be it as it will, as the parallel is made more for the sake of letting the apostrophe cool than anything else. It's not very material whether upon any scholarly reproofs of it or not. In the latter end of the 3rd year, my uncle Toby, perceiving that the parameter and semiparameter of the conic section angered his wound, he left off the study of projectiles in a kind of a huff, and betook himself to the practical part of fortification only, the pleasure of which, like a spring held back, returned upon him with redoubled force. It was in this year that my uncle began to break in upon the daily regularity of a clean shirt, to dismiss his barber unshaven, and to allow his surgeon scarce time sufficient to dress his wound, concerning himself so little about us, as not to ask him once in 7 times dressing how it went on. When lo, all of a sudden, for the change was quick as